Welcome back to So Bad It's Good. Today we have somebody that, does what I do, but does it better. I feel like this person is not only has a new podcast called Zachary Reality, but also I feel like this dude is like one step away from being a Access Hollywood on camera correspondent, because he's already on camera all the time. You might know him from his TikTok account, which is insanely popular. You might know him from his Instagram account, but you also know him from just his love of reality television, the same thing that we love. Also, what you might not know is you've now seen him on this season of Vanderpump Rules, and we will get into all of that. Also, I love this dude's fashion. Like every time I see him on a red carpet, he is in like this very unique number that I could never pull off, but I'm like, damn, that actually really works. So anyways, from the new podcast, Zachary Reality, it's Zachary Reality. What's up, dude?
Hey, Ryan. I'm so excited to be here. About the carpet, everything is either thrifted or gifted. I ain't spending money on clothes, trust me.
Those hats look amazing. You've got the big old hat. I always love it. And anyways, kudos to that. You're a style inspiration, even though I could never pull off anything that you wear. But let's just start off someplace, because you have a new podcast and I want to get to all of that. And you cover Netflix shows, which I love Netflix shows, but we don't get to talk about a lot here. So I'm excited because you just had Bartiz on your podcast. And I think he is one of the, oh man, he's like a Jax Taylor mixed with,
he's good.
He's good. He's good reality TV, right?
He's good. I've also had Shake on my podcast and Shane. So I love the villains.
Had the triumvirate of Netflix douchey characters.
Yep. And I've been out with them all in the club. I love the villains. I never take anything seriously when I watch reality TV. And it's a different world. I mean, you're definitely in the Bravo world. I've focused most of my channels on Bachelor Nation and on Netflix. Those are kind of my two favorites, and they go hand in hand. I think a lot of people who talk about reality TV kind of pick their lane. And for me, I'm really into those, two franchises, and they're very popular. So there's a lot.
They are very popular. In fact, I think it's interesting because if you compare it to like Bravo and things like that, Bravo has like this, insanely passionate fandom, which I'm a part of, but they don't realize Netflix trounces them in terms of just overall downloads and awareness. You forget the power that Netflix has because they'll do kind of these binge and then forget seasons sometimes. But these things now with Netflix, especially their new reality show, what's it called? The Perfect Match?
Perfect Match. It just ended this week.
Yeah, the Perfect Match then takes some of these characters that we met in Netflix other seasons, like Love is Blind and things, and they're already starting the universe building, which 90 Day Fiance and now Bravo has started. Do you love that they're doing that?
Oh, I think it's so great. The crossover is great. And I think Netflix is doing a really good job just making so many shows and so many different personalities. And I love that we can binge them. So it's been really fun because it's gotten popular the past couple of years. So it's kind of a breath of fresh air, but I still love Bravo. I started watching Bravo in college. Jersey Housewives was my favorite. So it's kind of fun because since I don't focus too much on Bravo shows, I get to actually watch them and enjoy them and not worrying about covering them. And then on Netflix and Bachelor, I'm all in.
See, that's the kind of same way, but I'm with Netflix is that I can enjoy this. I don't have to take notes. I can just I can be petty. I can yell things at the screen. And it's kind of nice to have those things. So that used to be what I was like when I would watch Bravo all the time before any of this stuff. And now I have to look at it with a certain eye. And I'm kind of it's interesting what they're doing behind the scenes. How would you compare Bravo and Netflix and maybe even The Bachelor thrown in there? What do you think the differences are? What are the stamps that make those shows different than what Bravo has going on?
I think all the shows are different. I think there's just different elements and different aspects in each show. I think Bachelor is so focused on their format and the love, and Bachelor Nation is so strong. I'm not sure how many of your listeners are really into Bachelor Nation because it's different. Some people pick and choose. We watch.
No, they do, and people will be like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing Bravo anymore because I'm strict Bachelor Nation. It's I feel like Bachelor Nation will eventually secede from the union and they'll go have an island and everybody Bachelor Nation will live there because it's that intense.
I don't know. Each franchise is just so different, each network, each streaming, and there's little worlds. So it's fun to dip my toes in each of them. And I'm excited to chat with you today because I met you at BravoCon and you were flustered. I think you lost your phone and your wallet. What did you lose?
Oh, I lost
Everything?
I lost all my podcasting equipment. I lost my wallet. Yes,
Oh,
that I mean that, and we went over to watch what happens live, and we snuck in on that
yeah.
last night. I mean, we
We
were
did
eventually
sneak
let in, but it was a
Mhm.
very exciting night, and kind of made up for how much I had lost. It was just a blast, and you are a blast. And then we got to hang out when we watched Vanderpump Rules, or we tried to watch Vanderpump Rules at a
I
restaurant a couple weeks
know.
ago.
Justice for
Now,
Kiki.
Kiki and Monique, you guys, I talked about this on the show. It was wild. So just to, I haven't told the audience this yet, but like, one of your best friends is Allie. And
Mhm.
Allie, you guys, if you don't remember the name yet, Allie Luber, I believe is her name. And it's
Yes.
DJ James Kennedy's girlfriend. And just so you know, Zachary, I always call him DJ James Kennedy. I don't call him James Kennedy. You got to say DJ James Kennedy. So you were there on last night's episode. He
Oh
played at the
God.
Canyon Club in Agora Hills,
Mhm.
and it's a very special place for him and Allie, he said.
It
And
is.
you were there. We actually see you in the scene where he's at the bar, upset that Raquel pulled Allie for which,
He
by the
was
way,
pissed.
is very Bachelor. Can I pull you for a conversation?
Literally.
Um, so you were there, but also I want you to like, you were also there at the first Canyon Club Agora
Mhm.
Hills concert where him and Allie first met. Could you take us in, like, how did you know Allie? Why were you there the first? Like, take us into all of this.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's so interesting to see the show now because I've been with Allie from the beginning. We met James that night together. I,
Is she a big
held her
Vanderpump
hand.
Rules fan?
She's not a big fan. That was a misconception that people were saying about her. She's definitely seen the show. She was aware of it, but I was the one that brought her to the show originally to meet James. So there was kind of the miss up. Some people thought that she was like a fan of the show, and that's why we were
Yeah, that's the thing
there.
you keep hearing now. She just wants to be on the show.
Yeah.
She just
No,
wants
no,
to be on the
no.
show.
No, absolutely not. What happened is that Tom Sandoval's manager invited me to the show as a content creator, asking me to make content to promote the band. So we got backstage passes and they asked me, to bring a couple people. So I brought Allie as one of my friends, and I also brought my friend Victoria. So that's how we were able to go to the Canyon Club. I mean, I already liked Vanderpump Rules. I've seen the
Yeah.
show, obviously, but I was the one that was like, Allie, you have to come with me. She didn't even want to go that night. And we ended up going backstage and meeting James. And I guess, James was familiar with who I was from TikTok as well. So I was kind of able to facilitate a little bit. But, they linked up so quickly.
Well, that's what he says. He says he fell in love immediately. And I mean, were you so you were there in the first meeting? Was he immediately like, your bone structure? Oh my God. Because that's what he always does in every episode now, is he's just like, your hair. Oh my God, it's amazing. So you were like, immediately he was smitten with Allie. You could tell.
100%. I think within like 10 minutes, he asked for my Instagram and then he asked for Allie's. And the rest is history. Like, they actually started dating from that day. Like, basically, it was like so instant. Everything happened so fast. And I used to hang out with them a lot in the beginning because Allie was nervous.
Scared. Yeah.
He didn't want to hang out with James alone. Like, there was times when I was like, really? I mean, I had fun. James is a great time. So we would hang out, the three of us, a lot in the beginning before they even started becoming exclusive. And I think they were like, I don't even think he ever asked her to be his girlfriend, but they started dating just like right from that day, basically.
I always think about that too, just an off topic thing, but like, when you get past your 20s, do you still ask people to be your girlfriend, boyfriend, or is it just assumed? Like, it's like asking somebody to be your girlfriend or boyfriend is a very like high school thing to me, of like, would you go out? Would you be my girlfriend? And I'm like, do people still officially ask to be girlfriends and boyfriends? Like, is that still a thing?
Don't ask me. I've never been in a relationship, which is
Wait,
so
what?
sad.
How are you? Wait, you've never been in a relationship and
Mhm.
you cover relationship shows?
I mean,
Isn't
I
that
recap
weird?
the shows. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's really interesting. I
I love
wonder
dating
how
shows.
your perspective will change when you do get into your first relationship. I wonder if that will change your perspective on covering any of these shows.
I'll come back to your
Yeah.
podcast
Wait,
and I'll let you know.
I'm like, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Also, just so you know, his podcast, Zachary Reality, he had DJ James Kennedy and Allie on just a couple of episodes ago. It's like a 37-minute interview. It's really worth checking out. Being a fan of Vanderpump Rules, though, listen, we know DJ James Kennedy as a certain type of person. Was there any trepidation on your part with Allie of like, Allie, hey man, like chill out. Like this guy can be really wild on the show. Was there any kind of worry for your friend at all?
Yeah, I don't know, because since I work, in entertainment and I, interview a lot of reality stars, I don't judge people on TV. I judge them based on when I meet them in real life. So as soon as I met James, it didn't matter what I've seen of him on TV. It was just like, he was so cool and fun. And I think that the first few weeks of hanging out with James, like he was just so nice and cool. Like it wasn't until after like a month or two where we saw James's other sides that isn't the best. So it really wasn't until like the first month or two where we were like, oh, James has a little bit of a temper sometimes, which we've seen on the show. So then there was definitely conversations about it between me and Allie, especially in the beginning. I think that after 4 or 5 months, we really put all of that behind us because they really did fall in love and they became solid. And James, proved to be such a good friend over time to all of Allie's friends. Like he's very generous. He's a gentleman. So at the end of the day, it's her relationship and, it's not mine, and they're really happy together. So I'm happy for them and I like hanging out with them and I ship them.
And I do want to point out too, is that a lot of people think Allie wanted to be on the show. And from my sources, I heard Allie did not want to be on the show. In fact, refused to film at first, and really kind of held her ground for it doesn't seem like that because she's in the first episode or maybe the second episode. But from my sources, I heard she refused to film and didn't want it to be anything on the TV show. And then finally had to be convinced to come on. Do you believe that to be true?
Yeah. And I'm actually glad that I can speak on her behalf because she's not going to do much podcasts or interviews. That's just not her forte.
I think it's smart unless she really needs to clear something up. But it's a dirty business.
Yeah. She's definitely happy for me to speak for her in some aspects because she's just not really like that personality. But no, she did not want to film because it's so messy. And I think you see it on TV and you enjoy it and it's entertainment. But it is a really messy show. There's a lot of drama and it's not as fun as you would think it is, especially for someone like Allie, who's coming into this established group where there's veterans on the show who have been there and they know the
10
game.
10 seasons, some of these people.
I think she was a little intimidated because it was so much drama. And I also think that her relationship with James is so different that she didn't want the show and James didn't want the show to kind of affect or change that. So she had to be convinced to film. She didn't film the first couple of weeks. I think that the show, even if the episode is number 1, it doesn't mean that's the first time.
Yeah, they cut and piece a lot of things together. But I wanted to even make that point because I do see that out there on Twitter and stuff and I'm just like, no, that actually isn't the case. And a lot of people are so quick to be like, oh, this person's thirsty, this person wants on the show. And even with Raquel, they said the same things about it. And Raquel, her goal wasn't to be on the show. Whether now, that's her, obviously now she wants to be on the show. And I think it's really changed her life in a lot of ways for the better and for the worse in a lot of ways, watching Raquel's journey. But it wasn't her goal in being with DJ James Kennedy. And a lot of people find that hard to believe. You were also, like I said, on last night's episode, which was the second time in Agora Hills at the Canyon Club. What was that night like for you? Because also we saw it ending where allegedly they, according to the show, James got taken out of there by a security guard because he started freaking out potentially about the Raquel Allie conversation. Is that true? What did you see? You were there with them?
Oh my God, I know. Because that one shot of me was filmed on,
you can't miss. You can't miss. I was like, that's you. Yeah.
I was like, hi, I'm here. That was filmed on an iPhone. Because the cameras were down at that point. The
quality is amazing. Why don't we just, by the way, that's what I'm saying. With any of these shows, you guys, if you're around these shows, get your iPhones out. I want cameras to be, if they're not going to wear GoPros all the time, I want people to be filming so they can use it on the show.
There was an iPhone camera and a ring light. And I remember specifically because I was around filming a little bit in the beginning and they
Yeah.
never filmed me because I wasn't on the show, but that was like the one time where they filmed me, which is why I looked at the camera because I was like, wait, what? I was like, what's going on? That's why I smiled because I was like so confused. And I was like, whenever I'm on camera, I look right at the camera and say, hey, welcome back to Zachary Reality. So, and it's funny because James texted me after I was like, oh, I don't like this clip. He's like, I know it's hard to not look at the camera sometimes, you know? But that night was really crazy because James was pissed off that Raquel talked to Allie because, you know, it basically like if James, his perspective was like, why is my ex-girlfriend talking to my new girlfriend and like telling her to be careful of me? And like, you kind of have to like understand where he's coming from. And I think there's a big debate online about that too. Like, is Raquel meddling? Is Raquel getting involved? Because it's not like James was telling, I mean, he kind of did slide Peter, but his perspective was like, it's not like I'm telling, he's like, it's not like I'm telling Peter to not hook up with Raquel. Like, I guess.
No, he's just saying he has a fat old belly and he F's all the biatches and, you know, that's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a vulgar mouth sometimes. But yeah, he definitely got, I think he did get escorted out.
I think he did get escorted
I didn't
out.
see it. Allie did tell me that it had nothing to do with her. She texted me because I told her I was coming on this podcast and she wants everyone to know that it had nothing to do with her and them fighting and that, you know.
Wait. So he got taken out and it had nothing to do with Raquel and Allie? He got taken out on a whole nother issue entirely? Did somebody say his DJing sucked? What was like, well, what could have possibly upset him where he got taken out?
Well, I guess that's going to be a mystery because I don't know, right?
DJ James Kennedy, come on the pod. We got to clear this up, man.
Yeah.
So you're saying it wasn't because of that issue, but he was upset in that moment that we saw where he was upset in that moment. Did you just from watching it back, you've seen it now. What do you think of it? Do you think Raquel is meddling? What is your take on it as not as a friend, but just as a reality show viewer?
Well, it's hard because I know everything behind the scenes. And can I also say that I like Raquel a lot.
I do too, yeah.
And Allie likes her too. I think it's obviously like they can't really be too close of friends because of the situation. But I think that I don't think Raquel's meddling. I mean,
I don't either.
Okay,
like,
honestly,
I really don't think she is.
I think I think her and Allie actually clicked in a weird way, even though they can't be friends. And I think that in a way she wanted to just like look out for Allie. But I also think that she's doing her job. And I also think that maybe the producers are like, Raquel, go talk to Allie.
Yeah.
And then she's like, all right, yes. I'm getting paid to be here.
I mean, that is the thing that I think we all realize 10 seasons in and watching these shows is that, listen, obviously there's cameras following them around. This is real life in terms of their conversations, but they are sometimes suggested to have a conversation of like, hey, Raquel, would you be willing to pull Allie for a conversation? It happens on The Bachelor all the time. Can I pull you for a talk? Can I pull? Like, this happens. Otherwise, our natural inclination as people is to run away from drama, is to not engage, is to keep those secrets in your head. And in reality, like Tom Sandoval said this, they make you run towards it instead of away from it.
I don't even know if Raquel and Allie would have ever had a conversation if there wasn't a show.
Why would you? Normally exes do not talk to the new, they bitch about them from afar and vice versa. And so it is kind of that weird thing. And I understand on DJ James Kennedy's part of this is what you signed up for, but it's still probably a tenuous thing when you really do love somebody or want to be with them and you're like, oh, is this going to screw it up? Oh my God, it's putting ideas in the head. Oh my God.
For sure. Because I think James was he was nervous bringing Allie into the group too, because what they started their relationship off camera and they were dating for like 4 months off camera where she wasn't really around that world. So I think that there was definitely some anxiety the first couple of weeks of filming, which is what's playing out. And I don't think that there's going to, you'll see what happens on the season. Oh my God.
Do we see you pop up in a bunch of different fights?
No.
Like I would love to have a mega edit of you just like popping out. Yeah.
Listen, I know that would have been hilarious, but no, I will. That was my one cameo on the season. I was not around for the rest of filming.
But you hear that it goes crazy. You hear that it goes nuts.
I was getting the play-by-play the whole season from my girl, Allie. So it's crazy as like a reality TV podcaster, TikToker, whatever, like my mouth is shut, like, you know, for the most part. Obviously I'm spilling a little bit of tea here, but
Yeah.
my mouth was shut the whole year last year while I was kind of talking with her throughout the season and getting all the updates. And
Well, they're still
things like
together.
that.
I mean, just spoiler alert, Allie and DJ James Kennedy are still together. So whatever happened this season did not break them apart yet. So it'll be interesting to, and it'll be interesting to see Allie's first reunion. That's what's going to be crazy.
She'll be there. They film that soon.
As her friend, do you give her advice on these things of like, this is what you got to do?
Absolutely.
This is who you got to take on.
Well, no, not that. No, not that. For honestly, Allie doesn't want drama, and I don't want drama either. So there's no advice in like how to play the game, because you're not going to see Allie get involved in a lot of drama this season with the girls. It's just not really. She actually ended up being in the middle, because some girls get closer than other girls, you know, how like Lala and Katie are close, and Christina, and then Sheena, Raquel, and Ariana are close. So Allie was kind of the girl who was going to be friends with everyone. And I think you'll see that later in the season, where Allie is actually the person that some of the girls might be venting to about each other. And then she almost gets put in the middle without actually wanting to be there.
That's what I mean, it's just got to be a shock for a relatively normal person. I mean, listen, Allie lives in Los Angeles, so anybody that lives in Los Angeles, we're not normal to begin with, but still there's a difference when you're on a reality television, when you're not. Final question about Vanderpump and DJ James Kennedy before we move on is that you said, you know, you've seen the dark side of DJ James Kennedy as well. Has he ever exploded on you? Has he ever said it? What has he ever said anything? And what has he said to you? Because he, by the way, one of the funniest dudes in, I know he's like, I know he's villain territory, but also the way he says things, I mean, it's funny, like the pumpkin pie thing about Sheena. The guy has like a really interesting sense of humor. Has he ever said anything about you when he's mad?
Yes. He's exploded on me a couple times, but not for a long time. And I do want to clear this up before we change the subject, that James truly has grown so much. Like the person that he was at the beginning of filming and last year, like he is not like that anymore at all. Like he's truly like turned a new leaf. Like I swear to God, I've watched the show before. I've seen him grown so much. I've seen his relationship with Allie. Like he's not that crazy anymore. And he really is a good girlfriend, a good boyfriend to Allie. So I think that people will get to know him in a different way throughout the season and see where he's up to now. He has exploded on me a couple times, but we're all good now. We haven't.
Oh, come on, he didn't say anything like, "Oh, you TikToker," "Oh, you Zachary reality," because he says such funny things when he like lashes out that I didn't know if he ever said something that was like, "Oh, that's gonna stick." That I'm not gonna forget that. You're like, honestly,
it's been such a long time ago, like since I've had a disagreement with him. So we've totally like moved on and just like, or whatever. And like me and him aren't like best friends. Like
no,
Allie's
but
one of my best friends.
Yeah.
We're cool. Yeah. We definitely like, you know, see each other and hang out. And
that's the only thing I worry about. I was talking to Sheena this week and I was like, it's, you know, because everybody wants to say this is like fake and stuff, but this is truly like the reality of their lives. And I always worry once the show starts, it starts then taking on a whole nother life than actual filming. So like DJ James Kennedy could be in a great place right now, but I always worry about how fragile these people potentially are, is that all of the conversation, all of the discourse could then get you back to a dark place. Cause like we already see it with Sheena and Katie. They're like going at each other. And I'm like, oh no. Like I always worry like in the off season, cause this shit continues for them. You see it.
Yeah. But I kind of think that James and Allie are a little bit detached from that. I don't really, I mean,
they're not in the main group. They're not hanging with Sheena and
but they're also like just not into that drama. Like, I think you'll see that as the season goes on. Like they're just not, I mean, I don't know. You'll probably see a lot of sides of James, but in real life, they're just not really into all that drama and stuff. So I don't see them doing any of that social media wars. That's not who either of them are.
Yeah. Okay. Now really on to you, because this is what I find fascinating besides the shows, is I find people's personal journeys really fascinating and inspiring. Now you started on TikTok, but can you take us through like, you know, why did you start any of this? How did you start this? I mean, obviously everybody starts from a zero level. To build up your TikTok to what it is now, and that's giving you all of these other opportunities. Take us through this. Like what, and you said you were fans of these shows in college. Like, were you fans of these shows as a kid? Like what got you started in your love for pop culture and reality television?
Well, I've been watching reality TV since I was 6. I started with Survivor.
Yes.
Survivor
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so good.
Are you watching this season? Did you
No,
start it?
I
Yeah,
had to give up on it. It got really repetitive.
yeah.
But Traders is good. That's a good
Yes,
transition.
Yes, yes.
Um,
Did you watch the reunion?
of course.
Yeah. The
And I interviewed
reunion, like,
Ari.
yeah, you did. But by the way, Ari also on it. Like, you get great guests, guys. This dude gets amazing guests. So once again, Zachary Reality, the podcast, you'll find all that show information in the show notes. So Survivor was your entrance point as a kid, and then
Yeah.
where did you go from there? What was the dream as a kid?
America's Next Top Model, Jersey Shore, Bachelor. I've been watching all of those. But growing up, I was into acting. I'm a theater kid. I grew up singing and acting, and I was in 30 plays. I was Prince Charming.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I was in, like, I don't know, Seussical, Red Riding Hood. I was Jack and Jack and the Beanstalk. Like, I was the star of, like, all the plays. So
were you in Into the Woods? Were you?
Yeah, I was in Into the Woods.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just loved acting. And in high school, that kind of turned more into improv. And in college, it turned into broadcast journalism, which was what my major was. And I studied broadcast journalism, and I realized how much I loved journalism because it's a form of acting, but I could be myself because I'm such a big personality as well. So it really just kind of fit. And as I started to graduate, I realized that I can, you know, take my love for reality TV and my now love and degree in journalism and combine the two. So that's why it made sense for me to move to Los Angeles. I'm from New York. I went to college in New Jersey. So I moved here at 22, right after college. I knew 2 people. I didn't have a job. I literally started off as an Uber driver because I didn't want to work anywhere else. It was really hard to find a job. I was doing temp jobs. I was a personal assistant at different, like, entertainment companies, just like all that kind of stuff. And then when the pandemic hit, I got offered a full-time job as a luxury travel host, like a receptionist. And then I couldn't, and then I didn't get to start the job because the pandemic hit. So then I filed for unemployment, and then TikTok started. And I realized that if I want to be a host, I can put my resume on TikTok and try and get exposure so that can help my hosting career. So that's kind of how it all transpired. And I think everything kind of happened naturally after that. And I'm so blessed.
Yeah, I mean, like, but it is. We all, you know, I taught at an acting school out here for a long time, and worked there and took classes there, and that was the big thing. Is like, she always said, create your own content, create your own. This was like 12 years ago. Create your own content, you know, we live in a day and age where you have the power of everything in your phone. You have the power to get yourself out there. So if you're not getting opportunities, you can start making opportunities for yourself. Now, it takes a long, like, it's a long slog. Like, right at the bat, you're not getting 1 million views or anything like that. But like you said, you went into it of like, I can put myself out there, and, you know, but that still is really hard to do. Like, I mean, I know this sounds funny for people that don't do it, but like, did you ever want to give up in that process, or were you like, oh, this isn't working, or were you always extremely confident?
I definitely have had doubts before. I think a lot of content creators have doubts when the numbers are low because, you know, we post every single day. So not every video is going to get 500,000 views. So that's something I, you know, tell my host friends who are in the same boat. I'm like, do not let this video define your success just because you're having an off day. So I definitely have doubted myself at times, but I think with me, it's always been a slow burn because I've really grown so naturally and slowly over time. I've never had like a peak. There was never a valley. Like, it's always just been like a really slow burn. So there's just been success every single week, every month. I see new success and new opportunities. So I've always had confidence in myself. I know that I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing and that I'm a natural. And I think that I figured out what I want to do, and not all areas of my life are perfect. You know, I'm single. I've had some family problems, but like, as far as like career and what I'm doing for work, like it's truly just been a fit, and you know it when you feel it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what, I mean, so then why start the podcast? Like, you have this natural thing going on TikTok. You're starting to be able to get opportunities to interview these people, make videos with them. Why then dip into podcasting?
Well, for me, podcasting is just interviews. So it's only my interviews. I'm not podcasting my opinions. My opinions go on TikTok, short form content. I realized that you have to use your network. Like, all these reality stars follow me on my TikTok. They reach out to me for advice. I talk to so many of them on the phone. So it was just like, why not get these
Can you give us an example of like what advice you give to a reality star? I don't know if you can say any names, but like, what would somebody reach out to you to ask you about?
So it's a lot of Bachelor Nation, a lot of Netflix. But they'll ask me how to handle the social media of it all. They'll ask me how to handle the backlash because they'll get on the show and the Bachelor Nation is so aggressive. And I have a really big voice in Bachelor Nation, especially on TikTok. So I'm able to kind of help them and help facilitate their stories because they can't speak about things that are on TV because of a contract, and they can't talk about things that are edited out, but they can tell me, and then I can say it on my TikTok
that I can say
in a way that you don't know where I'm getting my info from.
Well, have you ever pissed off the behind the scenes at Bachelor of like, yo, dude, shut your mouth. This is like, you're ruining certain things. Do you ever have like kind of terse things from anybody in production side of any of these shows?
Well, I've only talked to a couple producers who have been very friendly and nice to me. And then I've seen a few of them at Bachelor Live
like
on stage.
Mike Fleiss tries to tackle you or something.
Fleiss, no, he retweets my tweets. So I think he likes me. But I have heard from a few of my friends who are contestants on The Bachelor or were leads of the show that some of the producers are not, they just don't want my account to grow. They're just not, because it's I don't know. Maybe it's taken over. I've kind of have a narrative.
That's a great place to be though, when they kind of, I always think like one of the strongest advantages you can have doing what we do is for somebody to underestimate you or wish you poorly. Cause that usually it's like, it always, it's always like, okay, well that usually means that person's going to work harder or like really, that means something's going well for you. If people wish you not harm, but wish you're, like not to grow.
Yes. So that has happened a little bit in Bachelor world, 100%. With Netflix, we've actually been able to build a relationship. So that's how I'm able to get some interviews, but that took a lot of time because
But did they tell you you have to have these opinions on it, Zach? You can't go on a certain
I think
way.
I think I learned for myself. And I think becoming friends with all the reality stars, I realized that I'm not spilling tea. Like I'm talking about what happens on the shows. I'm giving them the insight, but I'm not spilling the full story. Like I don't say half the shit I know. And I think I started my platform giving spoilers and maybe exposing some of the shows. But now that I've grown a platform and I'm fully aware of that, I'm so conscious of everything I say and everything I put out there that I know how to give my followers what they want and how to also respect the networks and the reality stars. So now I feel like I'm in a really good place where I can play both sides and I do it well.
I do find it like it is a full-time gig. Like even like what I do, it's a full-time gig, but you even take it to another extreme where, I mean, I was surfing around on TikTok last night and like, you're live with somebody and you're like, I'm like, dude, how much time are like, you have to go live. You have to do all of these things. What is a daily schedule for you at this point? And like how like, because Seinfeld says you gotta write every day, even if you're not feeling it, you gotta do it. Like, do you have that same ethic of like, gotta produce every day?
Yes, every single day producing content. On the weekends, I party on the weekends. I go away. Like I definitely
you're always out at events and stuff like that. Yeah,
I go to a lot of events, which is really cool. So I have hosting jobs. I have freelance hosting jobs. I do panels. I work carpets. I go into studios. It kind of depends on the week and what's going on. But other than that, like I'm on campaigns for. I work for Fox, so I'm on a lot of the Fox show campaigns. So that's really
so
great.
Masked Singer, I saw you do that.
Singer, Special Forces. I'm going to be on the campaign for Farmer Wants a Wife. I have a video due on Monday. So,
by the way, there's a new show called Farmer Wants a Wife, you guys, where this title tells it all. The Farmer Wants a Wife, and it's another competition dating show, correct?
Yeah, correct. And it's like 4 farmers and they get all the girls who are from the city and put them on the farm. It's actually really hilarious. I saw the first couple episodes. It comes out March 8th. So that's really soon.
Okay.
So I'm on, I do like influencer stuff. Like I'm on campaigns. I'm working with, brands and TikTok, YouTube, podcast. You know what? I kind of describe it as like, and I'm sure you can understand, like when you have so many jobs, it's like you focus on that job for 1 hour that day, and then you move on to the next, which could take you 2 hours and then 3 hours. And like the TikToks or short form content, it's like that takes me 10 minutes to make a TikTok. So I can make 5 a day and have plenty of room to do everything else. So I just find a way to do as much as I can and do what works for me. And I mean, I want to be rich, Ryan.
Like I love that. I mean, I just want to keep doing this. Like this is like the money is like great and stuff like that, and it's fascinating that I can actually make a living doing this. It's like the same thing during the pandemic, but just I love I love talking to new people. I love finding out somebody's stories. Like I'll take 30 things that you said today and it'll inspire me to like go look at things a little bit differently. But I do think you'll be rich one day. Who knows? It's probably already happened. In terms of Bachelor Nation, I always kind of tell like, I always get worried that, we get introduced to like, it feels like 40 new cast members each year from Bachelor Nation. And then they all want to be influencers. And there's only so much tummy tea that can be sold in America and overseas. So like, we have to take care of these people for the rest of our lives. In your opinion, what makes a reality star in these days? What do we need for a reality star? And who would you say in terms of Netflix and Bachelor Nation, who are stars now? Are we still creating stars from these shows?
Ooh, good question. I think what makes a star is a unique, authentic personality. Someone who is just so authentically themselves and has a really big personality. I think a star from Netflix recently is Chloe. I forgot her last name, but she is a huge personality. She's a star. I think Francesca is a star. I think
Francesca Fargo,
and Shane are villains, but they're also stars. They have huge personalities, and everyone's like, what are they going to say next? So I think there's so many stars. I think from The Bachelor, I mean, Nick Viall has obviously been one of the bigger names. Hannah Brown, Rachel Lindsay, Caitlin Bristow. Also, as far as Bachelor, trust me, we don't care that much about everyone who gets, we don't care all about those 30 contestants. And I think, and this year, we're all sick of it, but we're still doing it.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's to be a slog this season, and I'm curious where they go from here. And, also this is now a feeder system into Bachelor in Paradise and the Bachelor universe. But Netflix, I feel like, found this really kind of amazing pocket since the pandemic, because the pandemic was like the tail end of Love is Blind was right when the pandemic was starting. And I think Netflix really cultivated this really interesting reality television format. Can you explain to the listeners what Perfect Match is, what the conceit behind that show is?
Yeah, so they brought together a bunch of Netflix stars from all different shows like Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, The Mole, Too Hot to Handle, and they put them on a beach in Panama. It was like a spring break type of beach. And it's basically like you have to couple up. So someone goes home the first night if you don't find a couple, and then whoever wins the challenge, then there's the challenge the next day. So then the winning couple who wins the challenge, the compatibility challenge, then they get to choose which new people come into the house, and they set them up on a date. So some of them set them up on a date with a couple to break them up, someone they might not like, or they'll set them up to try and help somebody else find a match if they don't like their match. And then now there's a couple extra people in the house. So then the girls have the power, then the guys have the power, and new people come home. But then it's cool because you actually get an opportunity to come back into the house.
So you can, okay. Yeah. You can fight your way back in. And I like it, but I just think it's so brilliant for them to, use the other people from their other shows and put them in another show. Like, I think that's what like these things really thrive on now is universe building, is creating these people. Like you said, Shake and all, when Bartise, when you keep using these people, it kind of just cements them more in your head. In your opinion, do you recommend people be villains or just be their natural self? Like I think you were saying, like, these days you could be a villain and that really stands out in people's heads because there's just something, it's that tricky thing of like, do you go for that? Like, do you try to be as brash and lippy and all of that stuff as possible because that works? Or do you think it's very natural for people like Bartise and Shake and stuff like that? That's just who they are as people.
It's definitely natural for them, but obviously the show love them, but the show will obviously make them into a bigger villain because there's editing, there's editing. Editing does so much. We have to remember that. And the producers that kind of set things up. But I always say, just be yourself. And I think that a lot of people are naturally, have an attitude or have opinions, and that could make them a villain on TV. It doesn't mean they're a villain in real life. So I always think that people should just be themselves. And also it's like, it depends what you want out of the experience. Do you want love? Do you want fame? Do you want to just like entertain people and make your mark? There's everyone has a different
people are
motive.
really going on these shows to find love, I would almost think that's crazier than the fame part. Like, if you really are going on here to find your true love, I think that's such a bizarre way to really in your mind do that. Like, that I would almost be more assured if you said, oh, I'm here because I want to be on TV. Like, to me, that's the truth. If you're there to find love, I would worry about you.
Well, I also am a hopeless romantic, which is why I love The Bachelor. So I think that people are optimistic.
Would you go? Wait, okay. They do. Would you go on The Bachelor?
Well, I can't go on The Bachelor because I don't trust ABC. I don't trust the producers of The Bachelor, so I can't. But I would go on a dating show for like, a gay dating show. I would be open to that if the opportunity presented itself. It's not necessarily something I'm looking for. I'm looking to host a show. That's my goal. That's my dreams, what my vision is.
Yeah.
So, but if opportunities come to me, I definitely consider everything.
What do you think of Real Boyfriends of WeHo?
The Real Friends of WeHo.
Sorry, Real Friends of WeHo. Sorry, what do you think of that show? Because I know you did a podcast on that as well, I believe.
Yeah, I did one with Joey because I'm friends with Joey. I love him. I think it's great that they brought together a bunch of gays.
I love you're very diplomatic. I think it's great that they brought together. Yeah.
No, I only watched a few episodes of it, to be honest, so I can't give like my full opinion, but I actually do really like it. I think it is kind of like Housewives-esque, but the gay version. I almost think it would have done better on Bravo.
I wonder kind of why they were able to use the real title when that's a very Bravo thing of like the real blank of blank. To me, that's a Bravo unique title that I was shocked that it was on MTV, to be honest.
Well, don't you think there's a lot of like the real?
Well, every time I see anything like that, I say that's Bravo. That like the real, like that started.
What about the Real Housewives? The talk
well,
show.
the real, that's, I mean, but I think Garcelle was on that, so that's fine. But like the real, like that started with Real Housewives of Orange County for me. So when anybody does that, that shocks me. And Brad Goreski is such a huge Bravo fan that it kind of shocked me that it was on MTV. Why does everybody dislike this Todrick Hall? I'm not like, it just is wild to read online hatred about this dude. And I never watched last season of Big Brother that I think he was on.
That's why.
He was just maniacal on that show.
Yes. I actually didn't even watch it. I didn't even watch it, but I knew. I kept up. So even some of the shows I don't watch, I'll keep up just so I can know what's going on.
You see the discourse, you see it's like you're not ignorant. So in terms of like growth though, is usually that there's ever a time where you'll move past reality into like, because I think when you want to be a host, when you want to be around pop culture in general, you're not just relegated to reality television. This is such a great entrance point, but can you see it even going farther than this? Movie stars, musicians, TV stars.
Yes, I've covered a few carpets where I had to interview actors. And honestly, like, Ryan, it just wasn't for me. I was like, I'm not into this. Like, I can do some research before, but it's just like, I'm not into this. So I think.
What was it, you think?
It's, what do you mean?
Like, why do you think it wasn't for you? What was the vibe?
Because I love reality TV. Like, I have to like talk about things that I'm passionate about and what I like to watch. And I'm not into a lot of pop culture that is Marvel movies and like action. And like, that's just not me. So I think that reality TV is definitely the focus. I think I could grow my podcast to a talk show of some sorts, on whether it's on TV or just on YouTube with like a studio, and have people, helping me to make it really big and better and make my own game show and stuff like that. And I also think I could grow as a host and host a reality show, just like you see Nick Lachey doing, or Jeff Probst. And then I think I could also, when I get into my 30s, I can produce the shows. I can executive
That's what I was
produce.
just saying. I was just saying, I know you've got to have at least 10 ideas in your pocket for reality shows right now. I bet. Yes. I bet you do, Of
course. So I am working with Fox. I've been with them for about 6 months. So I think that they believe in me, and I think that maybe we can create some shows together in the future.
You're about to tell me your idea was the farmer one, right?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But
I
think there's a lot of different paths for me. I think executive producing and producing, or just hosting shows, is what you'll see in the future in some regards. And I think I'm going to stick with it. And I think I'll probably retire by the time I'm 45.
Screw you, Zachary.
I'm kidding.
Okay, in terms of reality television, as we start winding down here, what do we have to look forward to, not only as an audience, but what are you looking forward to? We got Netflix, we got Bravo, we got ABC, we've got all of these things. We got Fox that you're covering. We know Farmer Wants a Wife is coming up, but what else are you excited to get your eyes on?
Well, Love is Blind season 4 is coming out.
When's it coming out? When is it coming out?
Soon, like a month.
So
we're back. I'm really into Housewives. Like, I live for Jersey Housewives. So what
do you think? What do you think of the Newbies? Did you watch this week?
Of course.
I love the Newbies. Do you like the Newbies?
I like Rachel. I like Rachel in a way, but I also think she's like doing way too much at the same time, if that makes sense. Danielle is the most authentic. And I don't know about Jen Fessler.
But I love Jen Fessler going up against Jen Aiden. I mean, I thought
No, it's too easy. Everyone thinks that Jen Aiden is an easy target. They're all jumping on her. They all gang up on her. It's like enough already. They all like to just poke the bear of Jen Aiden.
Because Jen Aiden is a hothead. And like, I sometimes think she, I don't know. I'm off the Jen Aiden train. Like I feel like, her. See, I feel like she's too up Teresa's ass. I feel like she's, I sometimes am like, dude, you're just angry at your husband. Stop taking it out on other people. It's not Dolores's fault. You're angry at your husband still. Please stop. But I love that some of those women, I feel like, showed up to film. Like they showed up to actually, like, usually it takes me a while to start liking new people. And I'm like, okay, we're 4 episodes in and I'm like starting to like,
there's just a lot of them.
But I'm starting to like, but I think because to me, it's okay because it takes away of like, I'm so tired of the Teresa Joey stuff. Like
I live for it.
Oh my God. And season after season.
No, but this is different. This is different.
How do you think it's different? Why do you think it's different?
They have not hit this dark place in years. This is the worst it's ever been.
See, for me, it's like, it just feels
Gabriella, like when you have Gabriella coming in, that's when you know it's hit a new low. I'm just saying. She has not said one word.
Teresa was like, I know it gives you stomach ache, but come on in here and talk about your uncle and aunt. I thought that was why, because you know she hates doing it and she has to relate the story that they were never there.
Do it. I think Gabriella wanted to do it because she heard what Joe and Melissa said about the kids on the podcast, and I think that it affected them and they wanted to speak up. I'm Team Teresa.
See, that was the part I will say, like, because I liked all of them. I'm one of those people that don't have a side in this, but I will say, I said this to the audience. That was the one part where I was like, you can't argue this. If they really weren't there besides filming for those kids, that was the part where I'm like, that I don't understand. That part I couldn't, that was hard to get behind because listen, I don't agree with her putting the kids on TV to say that, but at the same time they said it and I don't think they would lie. And that part really kind of like, that just made me feel icky.
Honestly, I think the kids are adults. Gia is an adult. And I think if they grew up on the show and their life is being talked about, then I think the kids are more than welcome to come on the show because they literally have been on it their entire life. So I think
they've known nothing different. They don't know anything different.
So they should be on the show. I actually like seeing them.
Would you like to see, somebody was talking about this yesterday. Would you like to see an all like a Giudice girl show?
Yeah, but I think they're still too young. They're too young. They have to be at least 21. Like I would see Gia. Can Gia do a spinoff show? You know that at BravoCon, there was only one person I waited in line for, and that was Teresa and Gia. Everyone else.
Teresa and Gia did one together?
Yes. I was there for like an hour. I was living my best life.
God, the Teresa fandom is wild. It is like Taylor Swift level of passion, but it is also such a dark fandom because people will cut you. Like people will, I mean, the fervor.
Well, I'm not that. I like Melissa too.
Love is Blind. So that's coming up. What else are you looking forward to? We're winding down. When does The Bachelor end? When do we got this wrapping up?
I mean,
feels like forever.
Yeah, it does. We have like another month of The Bachelor. But The Women Tell All was just filmed last Friday, so that will come out in a few weeks. No, they would never let me come ever, unless there's like a conversation. Yeah, but they don't
put you in a little beard. We put you in a beard and a disguise. That'd be great.
No. People have tried to, like other people who get invited have tried to ring me as a +1, and then they don't answer the email. So, but it's not like that with me. I have to clarify. They don't like any Bachelor creators. They do not welcome any of the creators. They don't like podcasters. They don't like people who talk about their show.
Unless did you ever read the Amy Kinnaman book about The Bachelor?
No, which one?
What was it for? She's the LA Times reporter. She released this book about the Bachelor franchise about 5 or 6 years ago. It's excellent, actually. She was the one that actually broke the Randall Emmett story for the LA Times just last year. But you Amy Kinnaman, you should check it out. It's really, really good, and it takes you from the beginning. Mike Fleiss does interviews for it. I found it such a great book. But that's hysterical. So Bachelor wrapping up potentially in a month and a half. What else do we have coming up? You said Fox. We just did Special Forces. You got The Farmer. Netflix, Love is Blind.
I'll say there's a couple shows coming that are going to blow you away that I contractually can't say.
Oh God, but it'll blow us away. I need to know what those things are. What are you most excited to watch every week? Even having to do content for it, like what do you find yourself naturally looking forward to? Not Bravo, that you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch this, even though I have to work?
Well, I think that's the answer. I love Jersey Housewives. I'm really liking Vanderpump Rules just to see Allie on it every week. Doesn't she look so hot in her confessional with the blue dress?
Yeah, no, I mean, like she,
damn.
by the way, she's handling herself very, very well. Like
She is.
there's nothing, and I will say this for her is that she seems like a put together girl. So much so that I sometimes find myself wondering, since I don't know DJ James Kennedy in real life, what the hell she's doing. Because
No, he's
sometimes
really
if you
cool.
watch, but if you watch the show,
That's
if we go just by the show,
Mhm.
you would worry sometimes for Allie. That's
Mhm.
nothing. But, and by the way,
That's fair.
I love Top Man. I think it's a bop. It's one of my favorite songs of all time, unironically, by DJ James Kennedy. But I don't know him in real life. I've had a couple run-ins and they've been fine, but nothing deep. I just she's handled herself very well, where I don't think people can immediately make that joke of like, oh, she's just an airhead. Oh, she's just this. You can't really, from what we've seen, you can't make that joke, you know? Like Raquel, it was easier to make that joke because she was quiet. She had a little bit of a shakier voice. And so when we initially met Raquel on this show, you could kind of poke fun at certain things, which reality show audiences seem to do. You can't really do that with Allie so far.
And I'll leave one more thing about Allie. She's smart. She got a contract and she got a paycheck on her first season, and she made sure of that. So yeah, she's great. So I can't wait to see her. And I'm loving Bachelor, and I mean, it's still good. And Special Forces, the finale was just this week. The Masked Singer is really good.
Yeah. I mean,
what else? Perfect Match just ended. So
well, it never stops. It never ends.
Never
There's
stops.
like a constant pipeline. In fact, sometimes I wish that all of these entertainment companies would get together and just take a month off during the summer, so we could have a month off during the summer, which would be really nice.
Right. But we can also like take time off. And I think it's hard when you're in the space. It never stops, even on the weekends sometimes. But I think it's really important to like disconnect and like take a week off sometimes and just be like, I'll be back. Like even like there was like one podcast that was like everyone was talking about. It was like Raven from Love Is Blind.
Oh, on Nick. Yeah.
On Nick's podcast. Yeah. And I put out a video. I was like, guys, I'm so sorry, but I need to sit this one out. It was 2.5 hours. I was too busy. And then, you know what? When I put that out there, one of my followers made a video and was like, I'm going to help out Zachary Reality. Here's everything you need to know. And then I duetted her, and then it was great.
Perfect. No, that's actually brilliant. So Zachary Reality, the podcast, who do you have coming up? Like I said, you already have a bunch of great episodes. We always ask people that listen to this show to go over, to subscribe, to also rate it 5 stars. The fact that he came on, out of the kindness of his heart, and
I love you.
Go support. Go support. 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I know that might sound silly, but it's a free, easy thing to do that really does help in terms of placement on both of those platforms. What else can you tease in terms of the podcast interview-wise coming up?
We got Rachel Lindsay coming on.
Oh, shit. Oh, nice.
I'll be recording with her tomorrow in person. So I'm so excited about it. She has a new book coming out, so we'll be talking about that. And I also have Piper coming on from Bachelor Nation. She had a very big scandal on Bachelor in Paradise. And we have a couple more interviews from Perfect Match. The finale was literally just this week. So there's going to be a few more of those coming up in the next week. And I do plan on getting Allie and James back on maybe towards, I don't know when.
You got to do it towards the end or in the middle or something like that would be really
maybe
good,
in the middle. And then we can also do one like after the reunions aired to kind of close it out and everything. So definitely look forward to that.
And then is DJ James Kennedy a good lover? Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
What have you heard?
I'm dead.
Okay. Zachary Reality, you know him from TikTok. I'm going to put all that information, but now he is taking over the podcasting space. Go support. He's doing his dream. You got to support people that are doing what they love. These are the people that we have to get behind. And, this is great. It's like, because we will be able to see him continue to grow before he retires at the young age of 45 years old. We've got it on audio right here. But thank you for spending time. Please come back anytime that you want. And it was just so great to finally get to do this with you, man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm a huge fan of you. I think you're so awesome and humble and so cool. And I think everyone that listens to your podcast probably already knows that. But as someone who knows you in real life, I will say that too. You're such a great guy.
Thanks, dude. Okay. Bye, guys.